morning.
Good morning.
Good morning and welcome to the 23rd edition of
Social Distance Takoma.
Today is Tuesday, February 16th.
Our top story today, calling all short story writers, poets, songwriters, essayists, and visual artists. TPMS's literary magazine is now accepting submissions for this year's issue of Inkblot. Added bonus, this year's issue will also be available digitally, so you will be able to see your published work even during these corona times. The deadline for submissions is February 26th, but the earlier you submit your work, the more likely it is to be published.
Submit your work at https://sites.google.com/mcpsmd.net/inkblot-submissions. This link is also available in your English Canvas classroom. Email any questions to Miss Eden at jennifer.m.eaton@mcpsmd.net. And now, a word from our sponsor.
While we celebrate February as African American History Month, we will certainly hear about the numerous African Americans who have contributed in diverse and significant ways to the development of our country. There are countless innovators, groundbreakers, leaders, and heroes connected to every field of study and aspect of life who deserve our gratitude and admiration. One group that seems to get more attention than others during this month are the heroes of the Civil Rights Movement. Upon analysis, it is easy to understand why. The people associated with the Civil Rights Movement of the 50s and 60s were not only great thinkers, philosophers, and leaders, but also had to have the psychological, moral, and intellectual fortitude or strength to overcome the almost overwhelming obstacles that the prejudices of the day presented. Imagine fighting for what you believe to be right and just, only to be attacked and reviled. How many of us would continue the fight after being jailed, beaten, threatened, and insulted? Without question, the person most commonly connected with the Civil Rights Movement is Martin Luther King, and with good reason. Not only did his works during his life do more to advance the cause than any other, but his legacy, or what he left behind, is larger than any other of the era. His speeches and writings are still studied today, not only for their righteous messages, but for their amazing eloquence and construction. However, one unfortunate result of the focus on Martin Luther King is his overshadowing many other great contributors to the Civil Rights Movement. One such under-celebrated individual is Medgar Evers. Medgar Evers was born in Mississippi in 1925. After serving in the Army during World War II, he went to college where he was a member of the football and track teams and also the debate team, the choir. He edited the school newspaper and held student offices. This obviously brilliant and motivated young man wanted nothing more but to help his fellow African Americans overcome the social hurdles of segregation and racism. In the early 50s, he began setting up NAACP offices throughout Mississippi and organizing boycotts of businesses that refused full service to African Americans. Despite death threats and setbacks like being denied admission to the University of Mississippi Law School, Evers persevered. In a famous case that got national attention, he helped another hero of the Civil Rights Movement, James Meredith, gain admission to the University of Mississippi in 1962. As the first African American to attend this institution, Meredith faced threats and attacks, but also persevered in order to open the door for others to follow. A riot on the University of Mississippi campus after Meredith's admission left 2 people dead and increased the number of death threats on Medgar Evers, who many blamed for the riots and the deaths. Evers continued to work, and on June 12, 1963, as he was returning from an NAACP meeting, Evers was killed in front of his house. The man suspected of the murder, Byron de la Beckwith, was greeted at the courthouse during his trial with a handshake by the then governor of Mississippi, and found not guilty of the crime, despite what most saw as overwhelming evidence against him. He faced trial again 5 years later, and was again acquitted. Finally, in 1994, in his third trial, 30 years after the crime, Byron de la Beckwith was found guilty of murder. Another example of the frustratingly slow, yet, we hope, inevitable march towards the promise this country holds. A promise that Medgar Evers selflessly worked for against great odds, sacrificing all he had to advance this cause, this promise: liberty and justice for all.
Welcome back. Valentine's Day may be over, but we're still complimenting our fellow Blue Devils. That's right, the Valentine's Day Padlets are still open. Just go to the links, enter the passwords Valentine with a capital V, and write a nice compliment. Make sure to make them school appropriate.
The links are https://padlet.com/1824779_era/TPMS-V6 for 6th grade. Replace that 6 with a 7 for 7th grade. And replace the 7 with the 8 for 8th grade. Remember that the password is Valentine with a capital V. Again, the password is Valentine with a capital V. We hope to see your compliments on the Padlets.
Now for a mindfulness minute. Please take this time to close your eyes, try to clear your mind, and concentrate on your breathing.
Nice. That certainly was calming. Well, that's our show. Please watch the CSI students' end credits slide at the end of the show. Watch for the names of your peers, friends, and hopefully your own name. This has been Ira
And Zai.
And Debbie. Join us next Monday as we continue to
Social distance, Takoma.
Keep your distance from me. I don't need you here. I'll do it myself. Yeah. Keep your distance from me. I don't need you here. I'll do it myself. Yeah. Keep your distance from me.
Well, other than that, it's been Debbie and my beautiful Valentine, my dog. Bye!
En esti, t'étais plus drôle dans le temps. Quand t'avais 14-15 ans, tu seras pas un rappeur, t'as même pas de flow. Retourne dans ton appart, faire des vidéos, t'as même